Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi washabihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Apa khabar semua? How are you guys? Hope you are doing good in the third week of semester. Alhamdulillah, we have moved to the next chapter today, regulatory framework for the ICM. So as for introduction today, I would like you to give one key point that you received last week about what we have learned on the introduction of Islamic capital market. Okay, so I repeat, for introduction for this chapter, I would like you to give one example or one take point from what you have learned previously on the last week chapter, which is Introduction to Islamic Capital Market. So just write your answer in the Telegram punya WhatsApp, Telegram punya group, okay? Okay, I give you about 3 minutes to recap. Okay, after just pause this video, okay, 3 minutes, and then just come back and continue our session, okay? Okay, so assume that you have given the answer. Okay, assume that you have given the answer in the group Telegram. Now I would like you to move forward to this chapter, which is regulatory framework for ICM. So what is regulatory framework? So in the term itself, it shows that regulatory framework is ataupun dalam bahasa Melayu is a set. Dia adalah sebuah set perundangan. It's a set of institutionalized regulatory that must be complied from all the financing institution in order to be in the industry. So why this is so important? Why regulatory framework is important in capital market? Okay, we can say that in our day life, on our daily basis also, we are dependent on the legal and regulatory. Okay, because why? Every day what we do is based on the ethics, is based on the legal or guideline. Okay, apa sahaja yang kita lalui in our life, okay, we will undergo all of this situation. For example, if we go out, kita adalah tertakluk kepada undang-undang di atas jalan raya, contohnya. Jadi tak boleh sewenang-wenangnya untuk kita melanggar lampu isyarat. Okay, kita pergi ke satu kawasan, let's say smokers, tak boleh nak isap rokok merata-rata. Sebab apa? Sebabkan kita ada peraturan di restoran. Tak boleh isap rokok di dalam restoran, contohnya. Kemudian kita duduk pula sebagai seorang pelajar, kita ada peraturan. Duduk sebagai seorang penjawat awam, kita ada peraturan. Duduk sebagai pensyarah, juga ada peraturan. Jadi kita tidak dapat lari dalam kehidupan kita, kita akan tertakluk kepada peraturan. Dan dia sangat pentinglah untuk ICM, Islamic Capital Market, and all the finance industry. It is very important to have this set of regulatory framework. Because why? Because it is very important when we deal with others' money. Okay, maksudnya kita menggunakan wang orang lain, kita mengurus tadbir wang orang lain, jadi perlukan kepada set-set peraturan ini untuk menjadikan sebuah sistem itu sebuah sistem yang boleh dipercayai. Okay, so the main importance of regulatory framework in ICM is to safeguard ataupun untuk memelihara public confidence toward the system itself, and then to protect the investor from any dispute that happen in the market. Okay, secara umumnya adalah untuk memelihara public confidence ataupun kepercayaan orang awam terhadap industri itu sendiri, Islamic capital market, dan juga at the same time to safeguard or to protect the investor protection, untuk memelihara pemain-pemain industri dan memelihara investee di dalam Islamic capital market. Okay, assume that one day we don't have any of this regulatory framework. Okay, kita cakap dalam kehidupan kita lah, kalau tak ada peraturan-peraturan ni, apa yang akan terjadi? Apa yang akan terjadi? Okay, pernah tengok tak satu cerita The Purge Anarchy? One night without law, satu malam tanpa peraturan, tanpa undang-undang, apa akan terjadi? Jadi cerita tu ganas sikit lah. Okay, satu malam tanpa undang-undang, apa yang akan terjadi kepada anda? Okay. Ada yang nak balas dendam, ada yang nak sekadar nak cuba-cuba, ada yang nak survive. Itu dia. Kan, dalam kehidupan kita sangat perlukan undang-undang. Satu hari tanpa undang-undang menyebabkan keadaan boleh menjadi huru-hara. Melainkan masyarakat yang duduk di dalamnya masyarakat yang ada ethics. Okay. Jadi benda itu sama juga di dalam market kita. Jika kita tak ada undang-undang, okay, kita tak comply with the regulation, legal guidelines, okay, there is possibility, tendency that the misconduct will be happen. Contohnya pecah amanah. Kan kita masuk duit dalam bank, ada tendensi duit kita akan dikeluarkan oleh orang bank tersebut kan. Okay, misconduct, pecah amanah, rasuah dan sebagainya. Okay. So this is why the regulatory framework is important. Okay, this is our outline today. Developing effective ICM regulatory, historical development for ICM, legal and regulatory reform initiative. So we will look on how Malaysia in this sector, in this legal and regulatory. So this is the requisite of Islamic capital market, which means we need all of this component in order to ensure that Islamic capital market is well functioned in the market. Okay, we want the Islamic capital market is sustained, strengthened, and is functioning well, because some of the market maybe might not functioning well because due to the weaknesses that happen in the market. So all of this will give cooperation. Okay, if we comply or we adapt to all this category, okay, insyaAllah our system and Islamic capital market will be robust in the market. Ataupun kita boleh meneguhkan lagi efficiently, okay, smoothly the market will boost efficiently. Okay, for example, Sharia governance framework, okay, corporate governance strategy, legal and regulatory framework, accounting and taxation framework, risk management practice, product standardization, product innovation, international infrastructure institutions supporting ICM development. So all of this, we need all of this to ensure that they will give cooperation toward the market to ensure the capital market in Malaysia will be well functioned, okay, will be known by other country, okay, will be run smoothly in terms of the operation and others as well. Okay, so as for today, we will just focus on one section, which is legal and regulatory framework. Okay, other than that, okay, we will touch it later. So one of the component to ensure the capital market to run smoothly is about legal and regulatory framework. And I think this is the most important, because without legal and regulatory, all of this cannot be done smoothly. Okay, sebab apa? Paling penting kita nak buat sesuatu, mesti kita perlu ada guidance, mesti ada guideline. So same goes to the system. We need the guidance, we need the guideline, we need someone to monitor, someone to supervise, okay, to the industry. Okay, this legal and regulatory framework is important to ensure a certainty regarding legal enforceability of Sharia relative to the national law when dealing with the ICM transaction, and documentation and dispute resolution mechanism in place regarding Islamic financial transaction. So when we enforce any Sharia product, okay, we must ensure we enforce it or implement it in di dalam kerangka perundangan. Dan juga in term of anything that we implement, okay, must be documented. And because why it must be documented, okay, in case there are dispute resolution. Dispute mean ada satu percanggahan, okay, percanggahan ataupun ada permasalahan yang berlaku, they will look back to the regulation, documentation, okay, in order to fight for the case, for example. And then certainty and clarity in such matter ensure investor protection, recourse to legal action in case of dispute. Okay, for example, we need to protect the investor. Okay, what does it mean by protect investor? So investor need to be protected in terms of their interest. For example, they're entitled to receive a dividend, they're entitled to receive a profit. However, the company won't give them. So they are eligible to lodge a report or to give a complaint. Okay, and then all of that will undergo the regulatory process. And then recourse to legal action. Recourse means the legal action that be taken toward the one who is guilty lah in that situation, which is kita boleh katakan sebagai tindakan undang-undang. Okay, recourse or legal action. Okay, in term of any dispute, okay, we need to have a legal action toward that company or type of person ke. Okay, so we need this legal and regulatory framework. It is crucial for regulatory framework to comply with the principle of securities regulation, providing the same level protection to all investors, offering securities in a market that are fair, efficient, and transparent. Okay, so regulation in capital market include investment advisory by market professional, issuance by securities issuer, trading by securities trader. So they will cover all of this. The regulation will include all of this. Substantial transactions such as takeover, merger, acquisition, institutional investments such as collective investment scheme. Okay, what are the guidance for fund manager? What are guidance for issuing a prospectus of the fund manager? Investor protection through corporate governance compliance issue. Okay, we have International Organization of Securities Commission. Siapa pula depan ni kan, selalunya kita cakap Securities Commission. So in the global context, we have to know that not all country have a Securities Commission. Okay, Securities Commission, please bear in mind, Securities Commission is governed through ICM product. Kan? Jadi tidak semua negara di dunia ini mempunyai pentadbir iaitu Securities Commission. Okay, some of the country don't have Securities Commission because they combine together Islamic banking and Islamic capital market. However, in Malaysia, we separate between those two. Okay, we govern by the both authorities in different section. Okay, Bank Negara will govern banking and takaful. However, Securities Commission will covering on Islamic capital market, okay, and capital market as well. So who is ISCO, International Organization of Securities Commission? So in a global context, ISCO is the one who manage, who participate, who give recommendation toward all securities commission in the world. Okay, jadi Malaysia is subscribing to ISCO lah, is a member. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, they have 124 members from all the country that subscribe or is a member of ISCO. Because why? They want to standardize in term of global punya section, okay, global punya trade dan sebagainya. So this is the place where standardize all the regulation, okay, in the Securities Commission. Okay, if you have this slide, you can show in the notes below. Okay, you can refer the notes below. Okay, bawah slide inilah. Okay, bukan yang full slide ni, bawah slide ni ada notes, boleh refer kat situ juga. So what is the function? According to ISCO, product and service may be developed within an existing well-structured securities market. Apart from the requirement additional syariah approval or certification, there is no need to formulate separate regulatory principle for ICM. So kita tak perlukan satu undang-undang yang lain, okay? Because ICM is part of the Islamic capital market as well. Most regulators have thus considered ISCO objective of creating a level playing field in defining their approach to regulating ICM transaction. Malaysia ICM regulation framework built on two-tier approach. The first one apply universal general regulatory requirement to both conventional and ICM, and second one invoke specific Sharia requirement exclusively apply to ICM product where extensive guidelines are introduced in certain area of ICM operation. So when we talk in two-tier approach, it means that we have to comply with the conventional first, or in the general term of guideline first, and then we must look on the Sharia requirement. Contohnya in fund management. Okay, fund management, there are guidelines for fund management for all fund management, either it's conventional or Islamic. However, for Islamic punya fund management, they have to comply with certain principle or certain requirement that required by the Sharia advisory. So itu yang perlu dipatuhi for the fund management, Islamic fund management to be comply with the regulation. Okay. So developing an effective ICM framework, effective Regulatory framework should be able to uphold the rule law, meet certain formal, institutional, and procedural criteria. That means regulatory framework need to incorporate these following three elements: legally binding rules. The rules should be spread to the mass in clear, stable, coherent. Modification of this rule should be disclosed, fair, and procedure. So when we have the rules, when we have the regulation, it must be disseminated, it must be spread out toward all the market participant or the financial institution. Which means kita dah ada undang-undang tu, kita dah ada undang-undang tu, kita dah ditulis, kita dah keluarkan, ataupun kerajaan telah membuat satu undang-undang baru. Syariah Advisory telah keluarkan satu syariah resolution, so it should be disseminated. It should be spread out to the market participant, to the market player, to the investor, to the financial institution, so that they know what is the regulation and they know what to do, in order for them to comply. And modification of this rule should be disclosed and fair procedure. However, when it comes to the modification of that rules, it also have to be known by all the market player as well. Jika ada apa-apa perubahan, ini akan lebih lanjut kita akan bincang dalam governance framework. Jadi kat situ pentingnya untuk diberitahu kepada masyarakat, diberitahu kepada institusi yang berkaitan apa yang ada di dalam regulatory tersebut. And then appropriate process for rule making, rule enforcing, and rule changing. Clear procedure on how rules are being enacted, enforced, and changed. Well-functioning public institution apply the law and regulation fairly and independently. So when the regulatory have been spread out, have been disseminated, is the function of the institution to do or to follow, in order the market to be well-functioned. Jadi mereka perlu ikut apa yang telah digariskan di dalam undang-undang tersebut. And then developing an effective ICM regulatory framework. This is what we need: Sharia governance, risk management, disclosure and transparency, investor protection, international best practice, and any other aspect that concern the soundness and stability of the financial system. The strategic objective of regulatory supervisory for ICM Malaysia, to ensure the public confidence, in the soundness and competitiveness of Islamic financial system. When we talk on public confidence, it's very important because we need to trust the system itself. Trust the process, trust the system. Which mean nak ke kita sebagai investor, kita nak pergi melabur kat tempat yang kita kurang pasti akan kewujudan dia, kita kurang pasti akan ketelusan dia, kita kurang pasti dengan dia punya kejujuran, ataupun kita kurang pasti dengan dia punya prestasi. Jadi kat situ perlunya semua ni regulatory, supervisory guideline that we need when we have a very strong regulatory function, that will increase the public confidence not only in Malaysia but also outside Malaysia. Bila kita tahu kita ada satu sistem regulatory yang cekap, efisien, kita ada satu sistem yang ketat dalam kita bermuamalah, dalam kita bertransaksi, itu akan meningkatkan keyakinan. Sebab apa? Kita tahu benda tu is monitored and supervised. Maksudnya benda tu yang keluar, hasil output yang diberikan nanti adalah output yang berkualiti. In the soundness and competitiveness, which mean compared to other market, might be Malaysia will have a very strong in term of regulatory and supervisory system. When you talk on soundness tu boleh kita katakan sebagai satu yang same goes to robust lah. Sound tu satu yang elok, yang elok di dalam satu sistem yang stabil. And then meeting local need without compromising international standard and best practice, addressing the market various short-term and long-term need depending on the stage of its development, providing conducive environment for business development, talent enrichment, is very important to produce more business developer and also talent in this industry. Expanding the horizon of the industry, internationalization of local player, liberalization policies to attract participant of foreign player. So it might be same as well as the number one. And then we have the law reform initiative in Malaysia. Okay, the initiative is involve Securities Commission, Bank Negara, Labuan Financial Service Authority. Okay, various law reform initiative have been undertaken by BNM, SC and Labuan to ensure that development of the Islamic financial service, including ICM, can be carried out in a more systematic and coherent manner. So all of these three actually relate to each other, and the one who is the most important is Securities Commission. So we have in Securities Commission, we have Capital Market and Service Act 2007. You can Google it. The act is in a blue color. Okay, the book is in blue color, which consolidate three statutory legislation under SC Malaysia's purview, which is Securities Industry Act 1993, Future Industry Act 1993, and Part 4 of Securities Commission Act 1993. Okay, in terms of Bank Negara Malaysia, okay, we have Central Bank Negara Act 2009 to promote Malaysia as International Islamic Financial Center. And then we have Financial Service Act, and also the latest one, we have IFSA to govern Islamic Banking, Islamic Financial Service Act. Okay, that consolidate Islamic Banking Act and Takaful Act 1984. And the other side, we also have offshore, Labuan Financial Service Authority, situated in Labuan. Labuan, this is another offshore bank, Malaysia Offshore Bank, LOFSA. If you still remember, in the case of 1MDB ke, kita ada Pulau Cayman, itu contoh lain lah untuk offshore, offshore. Jadi siapa yang melanggan offshore, siapakah pelanggan-pelanggan offshore? It might be institutional, bukan orang biasalah macam kita. Okay, it might be high net worth individual who require a private punya account. Okay, high net worth individual, kemudian institutional who want to invest in larger amount. Okay, Labuan Financial Service Securities Act consolidate Labuan Trust Companies Act, Offshore Banking Securities Act 1990, Labuan Offshore Securities Industry Act 1998, dedicated Islamic centric statute in the form of Labuan Islamic Financial Service and Securities Act 2010. And then in term of kita katakan macam dasar lah yang dikeluarkan, dasar-dasar yang dikeluarkan kerajaan, we have two strategic document, which is PNM, Financial Sector Master Plan. We also have Malaysia Capital Market Master Plan. Okay, ada dua lah, satu Master Plan 1 and Master Plan 2 actually. Okay, to promote Islamic banking, ICM into Malaysian mainstream economy, serving source of reference, and CMP and FSMP resulted the following action: liberalization the market through the licensing of the Foreign Islamic Bank and Investment Manager, the launch of Malaysia's International Islamic Financial Center Initiative. Okay, MIFC, boleh tengok juga website MIFC, there is a lot of information regarding capital market and Islamic banking. So this is the authorities body which jointly form facilitative regulatory and supervisory framework. Siapa dia yang bertanggungjawab dalam market capital ni ialah we have the statutory authorities, pada kanun dia ialah Ministry of Finance, yang mana di bawahnya ada kedua-duanya Bank Negara and also Securities Commission Malaysia, Labuan Financial Service Authority and Inland Revenue Board. And then we have Exchange Authority, which is Bursa Malaysia, and also Labuan Financial Exchange. And self-regulatory organisation industry, we have Federation of Investment Manager Malaysia, FIMM, IBIM, Association of Islamic Banking Institution Malaysia. Dulu kita pernah buat aktivitis dengan IBIM ada bagi talk kat kita. And then Malaysia Investment Banking Institution also, MIBA. Okay, then we move to the challenge of establishing an effective ICM regulatory framework. The first one, to ensure the harmonized interface between Sharia principle. So what does it mean? It means that in Malaysia or in Islamic finance, we know that we have a variety of opinion. Okay, we have a different school of thought. Okay, mazhab Syafi'i, mazhab Hanafi, and so on. So in terms to harmonize the hukum, to harmonize the output of the resolution is quite difficult for them. Okay, Because why? Sometimes macam cakap lah, dulu pun suku adalah, Malaysia adalah orang yang pertama keluarkan suku. It same goes to Baik Salam, kan, bukan Baik Salam, Baik Inah contohnya. So Middle East won't recognize ataupun tidak mengharuskan, tapi di Malaysia kita mengharuskan Baik Inah. Jadi itu juga menjadi sesuatu yang perbezaan pendapat, different of opinion, khilafiyah tu menyebabkan is challenging for them to have one resolution or have to one conclusion toward the contract or toward the product itself. So dan juga semua pengamal-pengamal industri juga mempunyai kesukaran untuk kita nak keluarkan sesuatu produk at the same time it is called an Islamic product. So Islamic product must be based on the maqasid syariah, kan, it will be mesti ada falsafah ekonomi Islam, falsafah keuangan Islam tu mesti ada di dalam produk tersebut. Itu antara cabaran dia lah. And then implementation of tax regime that accommodate ICM transaction. So when talk on tax regime, it's related to the taxation. Okay. So please bear in mind that when come to Islamic finance, why there are some people will say that Islamic finance or Islamic banking is much more pricey, okay, compared to conventional. Okay, makin mahal, malah macam ambil conventional lagi senang. Because why? We have to know that when we talk on Islamic banking, Islamic finance, we are dealing with a different contract. Kalau dalam conventional contract, we only deal with maybe one contract. Because why? We are lending, borrowing. Okay, maybe it might be two contracts. However, when we turn on to the Islamic contract, okay, in terms of financing, we have to know that we are doing maybe tadi 2, sekarang might be 4, kan? Sebab apa? In financing, okay, we will buy and sell the commodity. So when we are buying and selling commodity, okay, the process or the contract might be double up, maybe 4. So dalam kita mengenakan tax cukai itu tadi, for example stamp duty ke, kalau conventional mungkin 1 sahaja ataupun 2 sahaja conventional. But in term of Islamic contract, we have a multiple. We have we have beberapa kontrak yang perlu kita tandatangani. Disebabkan itu akan dicop, kan, stamp duty dan sebagainya. Ada beberapa yang menyebabkan harga itu lebih tinggi. Sebab apa? Kita proses itu adalah proses jual beli contohnya. So imposing tax, we need government to impose might be that tax neutrality, which mean that it will be the same. Conventional compared to Islamic, it will be the same in terms of tax regime. So that will be the challenging for ICM regulatory. And then to strengthen the sustainability and competitiveness of the ICM. So all the ICM market player must be competitive in terms of ICT, for example. And we are going to the fintech area, digitalization area, where the investment also will go in terms of financial technology. Kan, we have a Wahid investor, we have now currently we have crypto investment, digital asset. So we need a market player that compete to that area, okay, which ICM or regulatory of ICM must be upfront or must be beyond that. Maksudnya bila benda tu ada, undang-undang pun terus ada. That will be challenging for us. Itulah tu, awak semua ni lah. So I think that's all for now. Developing, this is the chapter or the conclusion. What have you learned about developing effective ICM regulatory framework, historical development of ICM regulatory framework, legal and regulatory reform initiative. Okay, so I would like to show you what it looks like regulation and in ICM. As you can see here, you can go to the Securities Commission website, and then this one you can see we have CMSA, Capital Market Service Act. Okay, search je lah kat sini, kan. So kita boleh tengok lah amendment apa yang telah dibuat. Okay, kalau nak tengok, just click on this one. Okay, dia akan keluar lah the full draft. And then we have the guiding principle. And then the most important, we have the guideline. For example, in an AMLA, we have a guiding principle, bond, collective investment scheme, contract difference, digital asset is the one of the latest. Okay, guideline on equity, financial market, fund management, licensing and registration, guideline for private retirement scheme, semua adalah guideline yang perlu dipatuhi oleh all the market participant who involved in that category lah. Prospectus, how you provide prospectus, and then guideline for registration syariah advisor. Okay, kita buka satu. So this is the guideline for, kenapa tak nak keluar? Oh, bukan. Alah, macam mana nak pergilah sikit tepi ni. Okay, for example, kita buka ni lah. Okay, this is guideline for fund management. This is guideline compliant function fund management company. Summary amendment, apa amendment yang telah dibuat. So this is revise. So guideline ni sentiasa ada revise yang berlaku untuk memperbaiki apa sahaja di dalamnya lah. Okay, kita buka satu tengok. Okay, guideline compliance function for fund management companies. Ni adalah series of revision yang berlaku. Okay, the latest one is 4 May 2020. Okay, how to deal with the client, marketing, advertising, portfolio, safeguard client asset, managing conflict of interest, record keeping. So all of this is a guideline for fund manager to be followed. Kita search, ada tak berkaitan dengan Islamic? Okay, macam ni. These guidelines are in addition not to derogation of any guideline requirement provided for under secretariat must be read with. Kadang-kadang guideline kan macam tu. Peraturan tu perlu dibaca bersama. Perlu dibaca bersama. Contohnya for Islamic fund management, it must be read together with guideline on Islamic fund management. Jadi untuk establish Islamic fund management, it must be read also this guideline, this general guideline. Contoh macam tu. Okay, might be ada yang lain lah untuk guideline Islamic fund management. Okay, so please go through this one. Contohnya kita ada all this definition and interpretation. Somehow that kalau ada yang tak faham ke, boleh baca kat sini. What does it mean by dealer? Okay, dealer, who is dealer? Mean CMSL holder carrying the business of dealing securities, stockbroker. Okay, client, compliant officer. Okay. So I think that's all for now. Thank you for listening. If you have any question that relate to this topic, please give your question in the Telegram group. Okay, kalau tak ada apa-apa, just put on a thumbs up, means that you have finished this lecture. So thank you. We'll see again in the class. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.